That means it's time for my favorite show on television, The Golden Bachelorette.
Okay, great.
Did you watch it?
Well, yeah, and everything's flipped upside down now.
Okay. When Mark didn't get a one-on-one at the top of the show, my head nearly exploded because he's so cute. And they had a kiss. And Mark said the kiss was good. And I believe that Mark knows a good kiss. And I still, every week that passes, and granted we're only in week 4, my conspiracy theory is more and more solidified. He's either the one, because at the end of the episode, remember they have that scene where they're on the boat and she puts her head on his shoulder and she goes, I love you, Mark.
Yeah.
Because I was getting nervous because in that sneak preview for what's to come, he was barely in it. So it's either they're setting him up to be the next Golden Bachelor or he really is the one and their chemistry is just so fire that they got to parse it out. So that's my spiel on Mark. I was so happy with everyone she sent home this week, even though I love all of the guys. I just think
there was some like Geek Squads in there that I was like, see ya.
Yeah, she just sent home the right group of guys.
Yeah.
Now let me
Except for Charles. He should have just stayed and hung.
Charles not in charge. Joan is in charge.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that line.
Yeah. Did you see his wave? Did you love his wave when he left? He's like,
I loved everything about him. His entrance, his middle, his exit. I had no idea that Chock had that kind of body. He has a really decent bod. When they did the striptease thing,
I don't remember Chock's wife.
when they did Magic Mike, it was like Jonathan, who we all know.
Yeah.
I need to see a birth certificate because I don't
Yeah.
believe that he's 61. Banging bod.
Yeah.
Even though Mark has a dad bod, still here for it. We know Pascal has a banging bod. And Chock had moves. He got on top of her at the end and was like thrusting on her. I was like, okay, daddy. And they had an amazing, he keeps putting himself out there. I feel like he's very driven, but not in an obnoxious way where he'll sit down and they'll have their moment on a group date. And he's like, let's talk. This is why dating older men is really lovely. I'm not saying you need to date someone 20 years your senior, but even 4 or 5, okay?
Yeah.
We all learn something as we age, hopefully. But, I feel like men really mature into a great place where they are the Chocks of the world, where he's sitting down, he doesn't want to waste time with her. And he's like, let's talk about us. Let's talk about our relationship.
Yeah.
On The Golden Bachelor, none of these dudes waste time on I don't like this guy. He's here for the wrong reasons.
know.
He's annoying me. They're just there for Joan.
Yeah.
They don't squander their time. I'm here for all of it. I thought an awkward date actually became super sweet. The Magic Mike striptease one. I also think that they put Mark on that date because his wife died of cancer and they knew that would be a touching thing for him. I was super surprised with the 2 people that she picked for the one-on-ones, Guy and then that other guy who I can't remember who.
Is it Jordan? Or?
Yes, Jordan.
Yeah.
Who's super cute. I just don't get it between them. He's the one who divorced his wife after many years of marriage and lives for his kids and everything about him seems great. I just don't think that he ain't the one for me personally.
Yeah. I have to confirm something before I say this, but I feel like I got some bad news on Guy.
Oh God.
Well, his ex-wife had a restraining order filed against him, so he had to put out a statement. She ended up retracting it, I think, when all was said and done, but
I don't know one guy who's ever had a restraining order against him.
yeah, I don't think I do either.
They also didn't look like they had sexual chemistry. When they went to go smooch, it was it was giving a little too much you know when it's too lip and tongue heavy. It just wasn't doing it for me. It just not at all. Chock's he's obviously
he totally
a front
is.
runner.
You were really into the date that they had in Disneyland, and I was just whatever. Because I don't find Chock to be very I just I think he's a
no Mark.
Papaw, he's not he's no Mark, and he doesn't have Pascal's va va voom, and so I just
He's
wasn't
no Jonathan.
right. So I just was yeah, whatever. But they're both I think actually really similar in a weird way. They're both pretty controlled, but
he loves Chardonnay. It's if I could get a few glasses of Chardonnay before I got there, I loved it.
Because what guy says that? But she
Chock.
also loves her Chardonnay too. Do your thing again.
No, this is what she said. She's like, I'm a little nervous. I'm just going to have a sip of this. Okay. It's so good. Joan never stopped doing it. No, I agree with you. Chock wouldn't have necessarily been like, but this is what chemistry is, Natalie.
Well, I guess there's vanilla chemistry too, because they're both kind of vanilla, you know, a little bit. Like I'm not saying Joan's not, but I'm just saying like I think that Joan is very thoughtful and organized, and like she just has a certain way that things are going to. She's structured.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, she's not like letting her extensions down over just anything, you know. She will.
Yes.
But like, you know, it's going to be on her terms and whatever.
Totally.
And I feel like he's got that same thing. Like, and they just both bring out the like, oh, okay, we can let our extensions down.
When he came back at the end of the episode, like a knight in a shining Cadillac, okay?
Yeah.
With his rose, the magnetic rose on his lapel.
Yeah.
And she was already out there, which I know. I know all of this is curated and planned. Okay, I'm not that dumb, but I still loved this moment.
Yeah.
He comes out of the car. She's so happy to see him. I've got my victory fist in the air. I was texting you. I'm like, Chock's back.
Yeah.
And they could talk for hours.
Yeah.
That's what you want out of a partner, because the older you get, it's not like you guys have lives that are pulling you in a million different directions. Like you're going to be spending a lot of time with each other, hopefully traveling, fixing stuff up around the house, whatever the hell it is, right? Hanging out with family, but you're still together. And the fact that every time they sit and talk, they could do it for days on end.
Yeah.
That's, I think, a massive component to their mutual attraction for one another. Like they've got
No, they totally do.
really like each other.
Is he the one that like when they sat down, she was like, he like asked her a few things and then he's like, okay, now let's talk about us.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Like that he doesn't, that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
like these guys they don't beat around the bush. They're cutting straight to the chase. And he said, he's like, let's talk about us. You go first.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to know how she was feeling.
Yeah.
And I think he is slaying this season. I think he's handling everything so well, and these youngins have something to learn from Chock.
Yeah.
I also was so shocked. You know how they're doing all the coming attraction stuff? She obviously is having a hard time feeling like, you know, am I betraying my late husband, John, who clearly she was deeply in love with, and her, I would imagine. I think that's a completely normal feeling. Yeah. I also think if I were Joan's girlfriend, child, et cetera, coworker, I would be like, girl, you have got to get over this. Your husband told you need to find love again. This is your moment. This is not that like if she doesn't find it here, she's never going to find it. But like she could, there are some really great guys there. Maybe not Guy with the restraining order, but you know, we don't have the full story on that.
I think that he's fine. I just think it's like, there's just something about like, I don't like either there are way more guys this year that have these, or like for some reason people are coming or like busting more people now. Like maybe you knew somebody had it before, but you just like weren't the person that was going to call up the show and be like, FYI.
What other guys have them?
I'm talking about like Devin and on Bachelorette. Devin had like a whole thing. He like broke into his girl. Like Mike, what was it that he did? He like broke into his girlfriend's
I did not
apartment?
know this. This is breaking news for me. By the way, this all so tracks. Devin is not the one for me. Sorry.
No, Devin's horrible. I can't believe you didn't hear about this though. Like it wasn't just like he would like not stop calling her, and then he broke into her place and was like waiting for her when she got home. And then, but then like they ended up being together again like after that. And so that was his whole thing. And his statement was like, we resolved it and we even continued our relationship for like another year after that.
Submission.
Yeah, exactly.
Devin,
you were waiting her in her apartment and like you were not taking no for an answer.
Let me just do like a little PSA for anyone who really feels like they're in love with someone and wants to get their attention. Just stand outside their window with a boombox, okay? Say anything style. You don't need to break into someone's apartment or harass them. That's crossing a line, okay? I'm a romantic, and that's a bridge too far even for moi.
What about dick pics?
Oh, yeah, I love a dick pic. Okay. A solicited dick pic, not an unsolicited dick pic.
There is another guy, Gil. He also went home.
Wait, was that the school teacher that adopted a child?
I can't remember.
Let me see. Do you have a picture of him? If this is the school teacher, I'm going to die. Oh my God, this is the school teacher that adopted a kid.
Oh yeah, it was. I forgot. I knew that because that was my reaction too. I didn't remember him that well, but like when I was like looking at like who he is, and I'm like, this is your job? And yeah, he got they found out, and so then they limited his screen time, and then she sent him home last week, and I think it was
You know who
probably
doesn't have a
because-
restraining order? Charles L.
Yeah, I know.
That goddamn angel.
Dude, Charles L is gonna get so much
Oh
puss
my
when he
God.
gets home. Like he's just gonna
he's gonna be-
really
yeah.
be out and enjoying.
Oh, he's
going to
be lapping it up.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for him.
Yeah.
Although I did have this feeling when he was leaving because he still is so deeply in love with his wife that I just don't know. I don't know. I remember when my grandfather died and my grandmother had been widowed before,
Yeah.
super, super young. But when my grandfather had passed away, and granted she was older, but she still lived, 20 years, I think, after my grandfather passed away. That was it. That was it for her. Like she just loved him so much that,
Yeah.
and I wonder if Charles L. He could have a new cutie on his arm. That's totally possible. But like, he's just still so in love with her that
No,
I just
I
wonder
know.
if he'll ever.
But we talked a little bit about it last week that this experience, like we think
Healed him.
catapulted him like over
Totally.
the finish line of like grieving. And I don't mean like he's not going to still be sad.
Of course.
And I'm sure he's probably also sad missing all of his buddies. But you'll be happy to know that Keith
From Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was on also Nick Viall. Nick Viall's having all these people on. And he said that he had like seen, I feel like Charles was one of them, that he was like, oh yeah, no, I just saw him, or I've seen all the guys. He's like, cause I travel for work. He's like, can't remember what he does, but he travels. And so I love that like all these guys are like already meeting up. Like it's not even been that long, and
To
they're all
me,
already
that is
meeting up.
the actual
No,
gift of
totally.
the show.
I know.
The fact that there's like this fraternity of guys, they love each other. Who was the cute guy from Palm Springs with the round specs?
I forget his name. I know who
he
you're
was
talking about.
so
I was so bummed
jovial.
that he went home.
Me too, because I loved him. His
I know.
spirit was just so sweet and so
I
beautiful.
know.
And he even said it. He's like, yeah, of course I'm gonna miss Joan, and she's a wonderful woman, but like, I'm just gonna miss all the guys.
I know.
Such a bonding experience, and I'm here for it. The world can be such a fucking dark place. There's
I know.
so much horrible shit happening currently. And to just tune out and tune into these guys having bromances, my soul needs it.
No, totally.
I was so surprised by how much airtime the guy who got the other one-on-one, not Guy Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
I was so surprised. I feel like that's a red herring. I feel like they're trying to throw us off with him because Jordan ain't the one for her.
But I feel like, who do you think is hometowns?
I think hometowns will be Chock, obviously. Hopefully Mark, Jordan, and Jonathan.
So I think it's going to be Chock, Guy.
Guys going to a hometown?
Yeah.
No way. No way.
Chock, Guy, Jordan, and
Mark.
I don't think Mark's Pascal.
Oh, and this is what I was so surprised about. Remember when she got so upset because obviously she feels like she's betraying her husband and blah, blah, blah. And Pascal's like, shut the cameras off. She's upset. And he's like, no, I'm not okay. She's not okay. I didn't know Pascal has a spicy side.
No, I know. And I think that is like,
She likes that. Protect her.
I think that is why Pascal's still in the running, because I think he keeps showing her things that she's like, I didn't know you had that in you.
Yeah.
You know? But
I agree.
I don't think Pascal's her guy, but I do think they could have a rip-roaring fucking year-long like
multi-year.
sex-filled
Yes.
travel, like
100%.
showing her things she's never seen, learning about things she's never learned.
Yes.
Like, but I mean, Pascal's not the one, but I think that Pascal could get her ready for the one.
How about this? I'm just going to say who I want my top four to be. Pascal, Jonathan, Chock, Mark.
Yeah.
That's who my four would be. That's who I'm bringing home to meet Bob and Suzanne Abbiati.
Okay, so Mark is just
Perfect.
like he doesn't even seem interested in her.
He is. The conversation he had with Kelsey and his future son-in-law.
Yeah, but I like that could still just be a setup.
And they've had a kiss.
Okay, but that could still just be a setup for, like, you got to give him some airtime, because if you want that to
Agreed.
be your Golden Bachelor, then like we need to know him, and not just know one thing. So like, he just doesn't even seem to be pursuing her in a way. He seems to be that like he was just planted for us to like get to know him, so that we're all like, oh yeah, oh this guy for the Golden Bachelor. Like, listen, I was on the same page as you last week. I thought that was totally it. Like these two, like, but I think it was a popularity contest in my head of like, no, like Joan should be with Mark because Mark's like the most like
Cutie.
like on paper in a photograph a really great match, but like I have not felt. And when she says I love you, we don't see it from his lips.
From her lips.
Her lips, yeah. It's a back shot.
It is. But it just looks like she put her head on his shoulder and she
Yeah.
just felt so at home. And she's like,
Like a friend
no.
that knows
You just
each
ruined
other already.
my moment.
And they already had plans for him. And
I love
she's not into him. Like, I don't know. That's
Okay.
kind
Well,
of,
you know what? TBD.
I mean, that's like, listen, this is my conspiracy. So I don't know. Again, I make them up to be entertained. So if I'm not right, great. Fucking great. Who doesn't want Joan and Mark to be together? Great.
Speaking of conspiracies, do you have any or no? We just have headlines.
I think I just have headlines. Just scrolling up the 6. That's what I call page 6. Just some random things that stuck out to me.